Reparations just simply means repair. Reparations just simply mean repair. But as you know, I'm the individual that also brought in the term, or coined the phrase, reparation and repatriation. So I'm just, my proposal that we put forth, as you can see here, this is the proposal of the Tabernacle Congregation Prayer Israelite Organization Unity. And we put forth the proposal of reparations to repatriate. And that term is centered around bringing us back home. Well, I believe it's because of brothers like yourself and others that have been out speaking in front of the White House and in Europe talking about reparations, and I believe that that has brought it onto the forefront again. We've been standing out in front of the President's house saying to them that we want reparations to repatriate, because we've had people constantly out there. Then eventually what happened, we had our Native Americans brothers standing up for reparations, and we had a group of our people out there then on the issue of reparations, and then the media just took it. It just exploded. So now, because it has become a political issue due to one of the presidential candidates that is on board with reparations, she came out and said she will support reparations. So now that it became a political issue, we can see now that reparations has become a political topic. Well, if you see, if again, the proposal that we put forth speaks of reparations. It talked about the HR 40. When I first got involved with the reparations movement, and I sat before the City Council of Chicago, and the Mayor Daley, he came forth and said that the City Council of Chicago would support reparations and the HR 40, the study for reparations. Our proposal it stated exactly what reparations was. Everything else that everyone else is talking about is just studying reparations. Our proposal go off into what reparations is, and that's Thomas Jefferson's bill signed into law. Thomas Jefferson came forth with a bill, and it's been sitting there, and he stated that it would sit there in his query, that until the black people, the African Americans, got to the point where they wanted to take up the reparations agenda. He indicated that in his bill that he would arm us, and that he would send us, and he would educate us, and he would send us out as a nation. We'd be recognized as a nation. And the key point is that we would receive subsidies until we became a strong nation. Thomas Jefferson summed up reparations 200 years ago, and he indicated what it would take to rebuild us and to restore us as a nation. And the beautiful thing about the bill that he proposed and is waiting for a presidential signature is that it fits in line with the scriptures. The scripture said, "Shall a nation be born in one day?" With Thomas Jefferson's bill already there, and all it takes is a presidential signature. Any president at any time can dust that bill off, sign it, and we become a nation in one day with reparations. Well, when you speak of reparations, as I indicated, when we first brought forth our proposal in America, it went to Washington, D.C. But afterwards, I attended the World Conference on Racism in Durban, South Africa, hosted by the United Nations.
What year?
This was in the year 2001. And what happened in South Africa, in Durban, South Africa, the United Nations, they came back unanimously voting, saying that blacks all over the world deserve reparation as a part of the transatlantic slave trade. So the United Nations has already indicated that all of the blacks all over the world deserve reparation. Now the question is, how are they going to receive reparations? You see, so that's the question among the nation. In America, again, that's not a question. Sign Thomas Jefferson's bill into law, and then we can immediately have reparations at our disposal, and we can immediately go back to the west coast of Africa. Now understand me very clearly. If Thomas Jefferson's bill is signed into law, then we will leave out of America armed. Now, what nation will receive 144,000 black men armed, you see, with the latest weaponry? Again, America had already opened up a gate for blacks to return, which was either Liberia, and as you pointed out, Europe purchased land on the west coast, Sierra Leone. So these are the gateways that we would have to be able to land on the west coast of Africa and to be able to establish first our foothold, because again the scripture says, because we're following out the roadmap to everything we're doing, it comes out of the Bible, not according to our own understanding. And the scripture says we will return unto the place in which we were sold captive. Right now, when I participated in the Million Man March, I was one of the organizers of the Million Man March. And during the Million Man March, 1995, the Ghana apologized, and they opened up their gates, saying that anybody that would return, that they will receive us. So of course that allowed for us to be able to return after we received our reparations with Thomas Jefferson, and being armed, and be able to go on the west coast of Africa. According to the scripture, we would return to the place where we were sold captive. And in Ghana, they have the gates of no return, which they sold us captive. And we'd be able to go from the west coast of Africa, across Africa, gathering all of the supporters and all of those that were enslaved in Africa to join us. And the scriptures indicated that when we would get to Egypt, that the rivers of Egypt were split into 7 streams. You see, and at that point we would enter into what is called the Promised Land. So this is so because reparations, so for so many, have been seen as something that was undoable or unrealistic by our faith in the scripture, because the scripture says that kings shall be our nursing fathers and queens our nursing mothers. So eventually we know that these kings and queens will give us, we will not force their hand. Again, the scripture says, not by might, nor by arms, but by my word, by my spirit. So this is a peaceful movement that eventually our captives will understand that they have oppressed us for 400 years, and they will give us our reparations and let us go. Well, okay, the Israelite Organization of Unity, we have had people outside the president's office. We've also had people attempting to go into and get in connection with their congressmen. Our agenda is very simple. We're trying to get to the president, and right now we have President Trump. He's a Republican, and he made a profound statement. He said that blacks, African American, whatever term you want to use, are lazy, and he wanted to get them out of America. Well, we indicated to him, beautiful, sign Thomas Jefferson's bill into law, and you can get them out of America very easy. So our agenda is to get to the president somehow, either through our congressmen, either through protests on the street, and show him the wisdom, because he's supposed to be a genius as a businessman. Show him the wisdom of 144,000 jobs freed up in America from the people that would leave, will immediately stimulate the economy. But also those that remain in America that don't want to leave, that want to get education, that want to get some type of benefits within America, you know, educational benefits, some type of subsidies in America, they will take that reparations money and they will spend in America. In turn, most Republicans, and this is what's been happening economically in America in the first place. America, when it first went into the economic crisis, it went into the economic crisis because they tried to stimulate the economy from the top down. But JFK, he understood during the recession that you had to stimulate the economy from the bottom up. So what happened is that this economy, this president, this season, they attempted to stimulate the economy from giving subsidies or allowing the banks, you know what I'm saying, to be able to to bag up off their loans. They let the banks go off with a lot of debt. But the banks never allowed that debt to dwindle down. In fact, the Republicans had this concept of dwindling down to the poor, and they never stimulated the economy from the bottom. But JFK, during the last depression, he bought in, and he bought a part of social, and he stimulated the economy from the bottom. So in reparations, and giving blacks reparations, because we know blacks, Africans, however you want to say, but they are the biggest spenders in America. Give them reparations, and they will put all that money coming from the bottom, stimulating the economy, back into the American economy immediately. You see, so what we need to show the president how, in giving us reparations, will help America be great again. As we are praying in Zion, we need everyone to be out in the streets, wherever you might be, saying the key words: let our people go without reparations.